Hello folks! Today we're going to talk about win friends techniques that actually push people away. Today we're growing more aware of our own behaviours and also the behaviours of other people who surround us. We reach a point in our personal development and growth when we can no longer apply the strategies and tactics that allow us to win friends and influence people, because we discover that we're living in the age of a crisis of inauthenticity, and we reach a point when we crave authentic connection with other people. One thing that we forget when we try to resort to many of those self-development techniques that allow you to influence people is that people register manipulations and people register inauthenticity, and no matter what you do, if you're not actually listening to another human being, they will understand, they will recognize that you're not listening. We're going to talk about some of those techniques that I have personally discovered that have stopped working for me recently, and I'm trying to replace them with authentic connection with another human being, and that is something that I have found extremely fruitful and also intimate. I mean, if I really want to get authentic with others, and those are the connections that I truly value. So I really hope those techniques will help you. 1. Mirroring. Taking the bodily position that the person who you're talking to is also sitting or standing in. I find this to be very evident, very obvious. When the person is doing the mirroring, especially for many of us, as we're living in the age of rising psychological awareness, we discover that when we notice that the other person is trying to win us so hard, that acts as an immediate push away. And especially with mirroring, this is something that I very see in a subtle form, and rather something that I often notice and spot in its gross form. So mirroring would have to be at the top of my list, to be honest. I think it works best when you position your body in a relaxed way, not in a tense way. And that just allows you to let the energy flow freely through your body so you can interact with another human being without blocking your own energy and communicate the truth that you're currently experiencing. Calling them by their name. Oh, that's a big one. I remember having a cold call a few days ago, and what they did is every 10 seconds they would say, "Lilia, what do you think about this? It's really great to have you as a customer, Lilia. Lilia, can you just give me your opinion? Lilia, have you been using our products?" And so on and so forth. I find this to be a little bit over the top. Personally, as I'm growing more aware and also doing the enlightenment work, I cannot just tell that I'm identifying with my limited identity residing in the body any longer. So I'm just trying to expand on the identity that I'm currently identifying with. So if anyone referred to me by my name 3 times per minute, that would probably be a push away for me. Smiling if you don't want to smile. That is such a triggering technique, isn't it? When you're just saying something and you're constantly smiling because you think that the positive smile is very contagious. Again, I think we're sliding down into this issue whether we should remain positive when we're not actually feeling positive, or whether we should remain authentic when we were communicating something that is not necessarily positive. And if you ask me, I'm definitely a proponent of the latter. Pushing way too hard to be original. Nobody likes fake behaviour, witty responses. Cynicism is something that we associate with our teenage years. And as we're trying to be witty, we are in search for witty, cynical responses. From time to time, YouTube would recommend that I watch videos such as 60 witty responses that will put your opponent or the person you're talking to in the right place. Is that a good thing to do? I don't think so. Any type of behaviour that is extremely self-conscious and is only having to do with how you position yourself in that conversation is going to be registered as manipulation. So all the external filters that you're adding to that behaviour are going to serve as a push away rather than an attractor for another human being. Faking confidence about subjects that you know nothing about. There is this approach, fake it till you make it, that I have already mentioned, that I think people take too far. Sometimes we feel as if having no opinion rather about a subject is something that is going to be a push away. We have an idea of this very successful, bushy-tailed, bright-eyed person who knows exactly where they stand. They're never split by anything. They never have mixed feelings about anything, so they're very confident. We associate a person having an opinion with them living by the principles. But the truth is that that is an assumption that we take. Having an opinion on things may actually communicate the fact that a person is close-minded, especially if they're trying to very heartily make a point that their opinion is never changing. Having a flexible mind is something of a greater value, at least as far as I feel it. Having an open mind suggests that you're open to new ideas, you're able to consider new ideas. And I find that to be a much more admirable quality than just sticking by one opinion for the rest of your life, never even bothering to question that opinion, and looking like a dogmatic person even though you're pretending not to be one. Asking out-of-moment questions. This comes from us trying to figure out the best question to ask the other person so that it communicates how smart we are while the other person is talking. Being spontaneous and being in the flow is the best thing that a person can do when they're being in a conversation with another human being. We're trying to fake that we listen very often, but do you think this actually works? As I mentioned in the beginning of this video, people are not dumb. We all register on an instinctual, internal level when the other person is faking a type of behaviour so that they're trying to manipulate us or to, quote unquote, win us. That is very triggering, and that does not serve as a springboard for a healthy, non-manipulative, intimate and aiming to connect conversation. Not being able to say, I don't know. That's another thing that contributes largely to that point that I made about faking your confidence about every single subject on earth. Everybody is an expert on something. To me, it's more pleasant and also more fulfilling when the other person, recognizing that they are not so knowledgeable about a certain area of life, just go, I don't know, can you tell me about it? Or what do you think about it? That's a much better way to have a conversation. Equally, when I'm feeling like I have no opinion to express, or like I have nothing to say, I'd rather stay silent or just say, I don't know, I've never thought about it. It comes from acting from the genuine spontaneity of the moment. Not knowing does not make anyone silly or stupid. Not knowing is a natural state of mind that happens just before we know something. We all find ourselves in the state of not knowing, but our culture is pushing us to know things. Therefore, we experience distress when we don't know something. And that is something that I'm trying to change with my work. So what have we learned from this video? Based on my experience, I have disclosed certain techniques that are being promoted up until this day and age in the modern culture that are aimed at winning a friend or influencing a person so that they like you. And let me tell you something. If you have spotted yourself resorting to any of those techniques, it's not a reason for shaming yourself. I don't think anyone should be shamed for finding a tool to connect with another human being. It's just that there are various tools. Some tools allow for a more authentic conversation, whereas other tools are all about finding a roundabout way to influence a person and to talk them into liking you, because you have no other way of connecting with that person, and connection is the primary need of a physical human. We cannot want not to connect with another human being, and that is something that we need to bear in mind. The truth is, just let me reiterate this slightly, that people register it when we're being manipulated or when our behaviour is being manipulated. we start registering it. We didn't used to register it maybe back 100 years ago, but the times are changing. So the techniques that gurus share need to be adapted to the reality of the modern world. If you're wondering what the solution for a genuine conversation would have to be, my personal opinion on this would have to be that I feel that the only way to make friends with another human being, to establish a connection, is just by listening, by actually listening, not pretending that you're listening, not faking the listening process, but by actually listening to another human being, by standing next to them and looking at the world through their eyes and validating their emotional state that they're currently in, never gaslighting them, validating their internal emotional truth that they're holding at the moment, and by just genuinely being present, whoever you're talking to. Presence is very difficult to fake. That's the reason it's so rare in the world these days. But this is actually something that we have to pursue, the direction that we have to head on. So please, in the comment section down below, compliment any other ways of behaving and acting in the modern day society that you find to be too obvious, too telltale, not authentic, so that we can dredge up the truth and demonstrate this truth to each other, so that we see that it is a manipulation and no longer follow it. Only if you have liked this video and you found the content of this video useful, please give this video a like. If you feel that there is anyone in your life who would benefit by watching this video, please share the video with them. Let's be loving and compassionate towards each other and live in a world where we can feel authentic and ready to connect without being afraid of breaking our hearts once again.